Hello, boys. We're going to go over a leap attack Barbarian today. Very fun little build. It is slept on in some areas, but as most of us know, it's extremely clunky. It's slow to utilize, but I want to show you what I have done to try and make this work, and maybe it might surprise you, because it's pretty viable. So, what we're going to be doing, to give a bit of an overview before we do stat, skills, and gear, is we are maxing the leap attack skill. Now, we're doing that because every skill point into leap attack is going to add to the AOE. So you can see on here the damage is the AOE damage, which is the same functionally as Warcry, and also the same radius too. So we're going to maximize AOE and then bolster our single target damage to complement that across the board to make it more worthwhile as a farmer. In builds that I have seen in the past, the AoE damage of leap attack is completely thrown to the side and ignored. I've noticed that on the max roll planets, even referenced that it has very poor AoE, and I strongly disagree, and I want to hopefully show you and change your mind about it today. So, stats, skills, and gear, and then we'll dive in, okay? So, here's all my offline testing stuff, as you boys know. My strength is reasonable at 173. We are running some IK pieces, which you can upgrade even further if you would like to, just because we have more strength and we can do it. That's up to you. We do have shouts, so you are going to get more bang for your buck when it comes to defense, but it's just personal preference, you know, like you're probably better off saving stat points here, putting in vitality. You know, more life means, you know, less likely to die, unless you're bad at the game. Get good. Dexterity, we don't actually need much at all here. Base value is 52. Leap attack is amazing in terms of attack rating. You can see here, before any buff or anything, we've got 150. 150 from main hand, which we're using our death. It is crazy. So we don't need to worry at all. You know, just max out the mastery and you're good to go. Forgive me, I've been suffering from allergies the past few minutes, and I was like, do I record? I don't know. Vitality is maxed out. Resistances are pretty easy across the board to max out on a Barbarian. That's one thing I do love about it. And then we'll hop over to the skills. Now, we do have some left over, but I'll cover that at the end. Mainly for combat skills, we are doing the following. Leap attack is maxed, as well as leap as the synergy. We get 10% per level. This is obviously our main skill, and we don't need to worry about any of these below. Here, on the right side, we have 1 into double swing. So we're going to be using dual lacerators on switch, which we'll come back to on gear and talk about later, but we're going to be proccing amplify from those, which all we need is double swing. Okay? Over to combat mastery, we have axe mastery maxed out, because our main hand, which is the only one we care about, is our death. And that is obviously an axe. The lacerators are an axe 2. We're using double swing, not throw mastery. So throw mastery would only result in throwing mastery benefits, but only for axe, so that makes it easier to max 1 mastery to cover all of our weapon slots. The Hoda was not relevant. We'll cover that. 1-point wonders all the way down into these. You can put excess if you would like to and res, but you don't need it. Depends on your gear. Like, we're so fine, okay? In skills for Warcry, we have our leftovers. So, pretty typical here. 1 point all the way through to battle command and 20 to battle orders. Now, with your excess skill points, there's a few different options you can do. If you want to do find item, you can put a few skill points there. If you would like to utilize Warcry as a proper utility skill when you're leaping in, stunning, and then by the time you're leaping again, that duration your enemy is still in stun lock, it is a very nice option, but by the time you are casting Warcry, you're taken away from your leap attack damage. So that comes down to really your preference, but also where you're farming with this build, because I would say the time that you're using to cast Warcry takes away from your general farming ability, and this build is very slow as it is. So, simply utility. Other things you can do is you can put extra points into double swing to bolster your attack rating. As you can see here, we're going to leap attack in and proc amp damage and then switch back to our death. But double swing is a little bit lower. If we put points in here, you can see it amps up slightly more. But really, that is up to you. And we always can fall back on leap attack because the attack rating is so high. So let's get into the gear and what I've kind of done. So again, we're maximizing AOE, and we're utilizing that as a priority. But Leap Attack in our main hand is where we're going to need to deal the most of our single target damage, and for that we've opted for this. I've tested a lot, a lot of different bases, and I've settled on dual wielding and the Death in the main hand. So with Leap Attack, the highest attack frames we can get is 1.14 APS. There is no way to do it any higher. Not with Metamorph, Switch, Beast, Mark of the Bear buff, not with anything like Burst of Speed from Hustle, not with all of that, and even if you include it into a beast made out of an Iron Golem from a Metal Grid Amulet, there is nothing you can do to bump it higher, as it has a very limited ceiling. So, for that fact, we want to utilize ideally a high damage base, so Ethereal. Death is beautiful here because it gives us enough Crushing Blow and Deadly Strike so we don't need to worry about it on other pieces of gear. We can prioritize plus skills for AoE, but it also gives us the Mana Steal, which we very much need here. Leech is a big important factor on this build because of our slow attack rate when we are attacking and landing. We want to be making sure we're getting resources back to sustain. So Death is our main hand, so our offhand is just for stats. There's a few different options you can choose here. We don't get any benefit from any of the physical damage on there. The Mana Steal doesn't matter. We pretty much only have extra res, I suppose, but the 3 skills and the cast rate is nice, and that's it. You can go for anything with +2, such as a very nice option is the Doom, because the Holy Freeze aura is very nice to slow enemies, and you can, you're more likely to hit more of them in the small AoE range of Leap Attack when you hop in, but it's up to you. One other option you can do is just a downgraded Heart of the Oak, and that's a Spirit. If you go for a Spirit, do not go for the shield, go for the weapon, because you need dual-wielding weapons to Leap Attack at the highest attacks per second. If we go for a two-handed, so something like this would be a fun option, a +3 Barbarian Pierre Tombalé C-word, that's the most plus skills we could get towards Leap Attack on a main hand. That's on a very high damage base. Obviously, you could make Obsession and things like that, or even Mang Songs if you want to be a bit of a meme. But, yeah, your attack speed is lowered. So, what we need to take into equation is how many times we can attack per second is going to determine our set AoE. So, even though this is going to deal more damage per attack, we're going to be attacking slower, and therefore our AoE damage is going to be dealt slower. We can't get as many out. So as fast as possible while maintaining Crushing Blow, Deadly Strike for single target is the go-to with these options. So the rest of the gear is we have this only for damage, okay? I love this thing. You can actually get +6 Leap Attack in the helm, and I want it. An amazing option is obviously Ariet's Face, which is very hard to beat, because this thing gives you +4 in every stat you would need across the board. But to be honest, we're quite fortunate on the Barbarian that we don't need extra stats elsewhere. The only other fun option is extra lifesteal, having a 6%, but I found I don't really need it. So I just went for AoE damage, +6, and I would recommend the same for you. With a magic item, you can get 2 sockets by chance at Larzik. God, I'm so sorry, boys. My nose is just blocking up. You can get 1 or 2 sockets from Larzik with a magic item, but really, I just put 1 in here to show that's all you really need. And we do need a Chamberlain in there specifically, because we're saving the ring slots for 2 BK rings. For not only, plus skills for more AoE, but the lifesteal is massive. So if we go over to our lifesteal here, we can see 18%. 18% is nice and chunky. The amulet is a different option you wouldn't usually see, and that is a Seraph's Hymn. This has +2 to all skills, which is nice for AoE, and it has damage to demons, attack rating, and also towards undead. When comparing this to other options, such as any crafted amulet or Mara's, we don't need any of the extra stats. We just simply don't. If we look at something like this for cast rate, sure, it's nice and niche, but it's not going to help our damage output. If we look at Mara's, cool, guaranteed stats and resistances, but we already have them capped across the board. So we want damage and attack rating, and this is by far the best option. I would recommend lock that in for the amulet. For the armor, I've opted for Chains of Honor. This spot you can change between a few, anything with plus skills. If you want, you can go for an Enigma, which I don't have. But I like this more. It is +2 to all skills as our baseline, which we need. We've got extra damage to demons and undead, so that's also falling in line with Seraph's Hymn. More damage, it does help. It doesn't show on the sheet DPS. It gives us a good chunk of lifesteal and very nice resistances and things across the board, which we don't need. A bit of damage reduction, but mainly lifesteal damage and then plus skills, big priority. For 3-piece IK, we have a little bit of increased attack speed that's kind of negligible, and same with down here, but the 3-piece gives us 2 to combat skills when we're using the boots particularly. Now, that is very important, because if we drop these, the only plus skill we can get between these 3 pieces of gear would be Iraq's belt, and then there's not too much benefit we can get from here, and I've tried looking at options, and I come back to this every time. It is a lock-in. So we've got the Lacerators on switch as I shown, so we're going to leap attack in with very high attack rating, proc that, and then switch back. But yeah, pretty much we're going to leap attack with death. So we've got Torch, we've got Annie, I've got 3 20/20s here. That would be probably your typical best in slot, I would say, unless you boys can think of something else or you want to do Magic Find. But down here we have Combat Skillers, which nobody really looks for. That is exactly what we want, because you can see my leap attack damage is over 4,100. Now, Mercenary. There's a few different options for a Mercenary here. We're pretty well rounded as a character by itself. The Mercenary is only complementary to the build. It's not fully relied upon. I opted for a Might Mercenary with Pride, just to bolster our single target damage, because we attack very slow, and it helps to finish off, like, big health bar mobs, you know, like Shank or whatever, and just other crazy stuff. It makes it a little bit more doable. A few other options which are viable is you can go for a max damage Act 1 Rogue with like an Ice Bow to freeze mobs, or even something like a Mist to freeze target. Very nice for crowd control, very safe, very awesome. Also, an option would be in Act 3 Static, Act 3 Lightning Mercenary. It's okay. I would prefer that if I had Enigma to teleport round, but it is also a doable option. We'll settle with this for now. So if we look at gameplay, let's put it down to P3, and we'll go over to Ariat Plateau. Sorry again about my nose, boys. God damn. Alright, so let's buff ourselves up. We have our Hodo over here. 5,200, it's very easy to stack up life on this thing. And leap attack, our AOE is 4,260. There we go, and I took 2 leap attacks, and then we've got amp damage on Thresh Shocket. Pretty simple, right? Let's go here. I'm going to put the gameplay straight up to Players 8. And we're going to go to Frigid Highlands. Here we are. So, I'm going to switch back out my Lacerators first. Leap attack in. I might double swing, I guess. Here we go. Leap attack. Double swing. Switch back. And single target. You can switch back as much as you like. It's like this here. You can even have one Lacerator out on switch, but you don't get benefit from the offhand, which is a little bit unfortunate. So we just have Lacerators out at the moment. And that kind of works. This is Players 8, boys. Players 8. Alright, switch to Lacerators. Probably do 2 leaps in here, and then we'll do swing. Can I get second lock? Here we go. With the nest underneath Shank, you can't really see the AoE of spells. It's kind of funny. There you go. Like, players 8. Leap attack Barbarian. 4,260. We're attacking at 1.14 APS. Such a cool option, boys. Oh. I'm going to go Halls of Pain, and then I was testing a little bit in Canyon of Magi before, so I guess we could go back there. One leap attack, switch back, death. It is slow, it is clunky, but it is nice to see it actually working on players 8, you know? It is quite annoying having to switch back through weapon to weapon. It's unfortunate that we can't cast from our offhand, we have to switch back. That would be ideal. Like, if we had death in main hand, and then offhand would be, you know, Lacerator, and we could still proc CTC from that, but it is what it is. I mean, we could leap attack in with main hand and then double swing every time and still keep the same on. That could definitely work as well, but we would just lose our +3 from the Hodo. Grotesques have such high defense. There you go. Let's go find Nilafak. He's over here. Oh, I did get Warcry as well, so I could use that. Can I get one more? Can I get one more? Leap attack, come on, can I get one more? There we go, boys. Good, now we switch in. And you could see the lifesteal happening away there. Oh, that's so good. Not very good at finishing the job, but with the AOE, it's okay. It's not bad, boys. I'm kind of enjoying it, to be honest. I'm impressed we can get over 4,000 damage just on cheat DPS. You know, that doesn't include the the benefit from amp damage on there. But from what I was talking about before, we could potentially drop the Hodo and then put Lacerator here. So instead of switching over and back between weapons, we can leap attack with this. We drop like 240 AOE damage, but we can keep the death and the Lacerator. We can double swing when we want to proc amp. We can't utilize leap attack to proc it. So let's go to Canyon and see how this works on player zone. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, Lord, please. Please. Thank you. Alright. So, leap attack first. Double swing. A little bit sad. Not as consistent. Probably worth utilizing with Warcry. And already I want to switch back to having the dual on switch. I'll try and find one more pack. Get me a few boys. Here we go. So, it's stun. We'll go double swing. And we got about... No. We got amped. Okay, there we go. Now, attack rating with that is only 86, so that's a little bit sad. Let's switch back and finish off a little bit of Canyon. So if I go here, and then we leap attack in with Lacerators, we're going to get a little bit more higher chance to land hits, which is very valuable. When you're leap attacking, you're kind of safe, other than sitting in there just double swing. That's about the build, boys. What do you think? Is this a complete waste of time? I'm kind of impressed, to be honest. I'm impressed. I thought it would be worse, but it's okay. I mean, it's still clunky. It's still horrible. I wouldn't want to do a full playthrough of this to get to this level. But it can work, and I'm very surprised it can clear Players 8 somewhat okay. I hope you boys enjoyed it. There'll be a few more things to come, and yeah, this might come out when season is already up, so cool. We'll see you around, boys.